Here we go. Welcome back to another Amnon book with the hockey coach, Coach Franchise, directly for the beautiful country of Thailand on amazing, great Wednesday night, August 28th, 2024. Yes, we're getting there. Yeah, nothing's going on during this week. It's boring. You have to look about KHL, the qualifier hockey. You have to searching for to watch hockey, and this is going on. This happening right now this week. Really nothing too much about the Montreal Canadiens or the NHL, but we still have some contents to talk about. We find some great information we can sharing with you on the special night. Of course, I'm not alone tonight. We're going to have two great experts about the Montreal Canadiens and the NHL sharing some great information about hockey. And all of you, thanks for joining the show tonight. Many of you are available to be a part of the show tonight. Don't forget, please, to click on the likes. And tonight we talk about the Montreal again, the wild card. For the wild card. Interesting, coach. Yeah, I know. Is it possible the Montreal Canadiens are become a wild card for the upcoming season? This is what we're going to figure out or find out, do an exercise again. And I think we're going to have that answer at the end of the show. NHL news, we're going to go back with the Battle Royale of the Montreal Canadiens players. We're going to talk about the poll question of the day. And it's fun news about the Montreal Canadiens players. But we're getting there. We are approximately 3 weeks for the showcase rookie for the Montreal Canadiens versus the Toronto Maple Leafs, September 14-15. The main camp starts approximately the 20th. And then the first game of the Montreal Canadiens, first exhibition game, is going to be the Monday night, September 23rd, again, the New Jersey Devils. And the first game of the Montreal Canadiens, October 9, for the regular season 2024-2025, again at Toronto Maple Leafs. The season starts October 8th with a triple-header game, but they have two games prior to that, October 4th and 5th. Somewhere in Czechia, I believe, the Devils, Buffalo, or something else going to play at the beginning of the season 2024-2025. We're getting there. It's getting closer of the upcoming season. But tonight, we have to welcome back. They are right now in the green room. Mascot is already ready. Don't need too much makeup. And our type is the way. You have to add more makeup overall. The hair, the eyes, it is a bit more expensive for the makeup. But at the end of the day, we welcome back because we call him the legend. We call him the greatness. And they are both in the green room, walking slowly, probably the right way. One of the cavemen, one of the upstairs. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Mr. Enartap and Mr. Marco Larabie is in the house.
Good evening, everyone. How's it going?
Enartap, I didn't know you were so high maintenance.
Yeah, I know. Neither did I.
Is that where all the budget?
Some retouch from the last show. George is back in the house. George, a long time we not see you, my friend. He may be there sometime. We don't talk too much. Thanks to be with us. Brendan, with a man, Mr. Natap from the warm-up show. Remember, Brendan was with us Monday night. Pierre, a new member, a new subscriber of the Hockey Nation Live Show. Welcome back. Pierre is in Arizona. Marco and Natap is directly from Mesa, Arizona. Great location. Great fire back in the house, followed by Bob Smith. Welcome back, Bobby. Bob Smith. Remember Bobby Smith, number 15, the Montreal Expos. Now I'm going to mess up everything again. Ozzy Calabro is in the house. PLW back in the house tonight. He's go with Luis Arias. Go with, hopefully you're going to get it. Then we have, I don't know, it's like phone. Phone, phone, maybe. Phone sub. I don't know. I feel like he's changed his nickname, but I could be wrong. If he's not, welcome back. Thanks to be with us. He was with us yesterday. Mr. Henry back in the house tonight. Welcome back. And we have the big fans of the Tampa Bay area, Mr. Buck, Rays, and the Bulls. Welcome back. Thanks to be with us. Honestly, he said if you follow him, he said, be right back, BRB. That's another subject for the time. Right Fontaine is in the house tonight. So we get everybody. Don't forget, please, to click on the like if you don't mind. That'd be great. Welcome back, both of you. And maybe open up the show with what's going on around you. What's around you live and what kind of hockey you watching right now, or you want to talk about something. So, Marco, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Yeah, very excited, Coach. I think somebody was mentioning like 28 days, I guess, to the start of the hostilities. So getting very excited. Not much hockey to watch. I'm not going to get up at 4 a.m. to watch KHL, unfortunately, because I have a job, right? But it would be. I have been watching some clips. Right now, it's all about the it's all about the PlayStation, Coach. Like lots of they have this fantasy mode, like a GM mode, where you can kind of simulate seasons and change lines and trades and all that. So I'm kind of like an amateur GM on my PlayStation, and it's a lot of fun. Like trying to see what it's like to have Patrick Laine on the team, and so lots of like geeking out to my video games right now, pretty much when it comes to hockey, and so looking forward to we were pretty spoiled in the last couple of weeks. Lots of NHL news. Like you said, a little bit more quiet in the last couple of days here, but it's all right. We still have lots to talk about, and I'm excited for tonight.
I'm sorry about that, Mr. Anton. Before you start, are you in the heat of the? You have a wave of the heat at the middle of the USA, I believe, Pennsylvania and the middle Midwest.
Yeah.
Are you in the same situation with Toronto, or not yet there?
Well, it's been a bit of it's the last couple of days have been a little bit more humid, but the temperature hasn't been as bad as it was, about 3 or 4 weeks ago before all the rain came down. So we're kind of hopeful that it'll stay a little bit cooler like this. It's all good after all. Marco, I didn't know you were so much into the PlayStation. It's
well,
it's different.
I don't play as much. So like it's pretty expensive, right? Like to buy the EA NHL game. And I always feel like during the season, I don't play as much because I'm watching hockey and I have NHL center ice, right? So I just don't watch Montreal. I watch pretty much all the games that are on. I watch it all the time, right? So I don't really get good value for the game. But then once the season is over, then I play a lot more during the summer because I miss hockey, right? So yeah, I'm getting my money's worth. Yeah.
That's awesome, Marco. In our time, we still play with the Nintendo 64 together. We still play with Henri Richard and Jean Bilbao. But otherwise, we're getting there. We still practice with the bar, and the ball's going like this,
and the ball's going around.
That's what we rode that way.
Did you play a lot of table hockey growing up?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
I did, especially in university. A lot of times, just to release a lot of stress with a few of the buddies, we'd go down there. We'd have tournaments, and it was great. The bubble hockey,
air hockey is even better though for letting stress out because you can really, you can shoot that disc really hard and cram it down the other person's hole, so to speak. It can be pretty aggressive.
Here we go. 102 Fahrenheit, 107 in Arizona Fahrenheit. It's hot over there. Well, welcome back also Tony DeMarc. Welcome back, Tony Jazz from British Columbia. And then we have Bob Ultraman back in the house. The Sabres are coming, Bob. Yeah, they are coming very soon. For sure. Ronnie Odette is back in the house. Do I miss someone? I think I missed someone. I apologize if I missed one of you. But if I miss you, welcome in the house. Of course, the moderator, ladies and gentlemen, Adam Hilas again is Luciano Graziano is back in the house. I don't know, he changed the name again, but he have a UP emoji right there, so it's good to hear that. Tony DeMarc, Duminov looking good player in the center. Yes, he's looking good, Tony. PLW talk about some things. By the way, Mr. Nathan, Marco, yesterday, one thing I forgot to talk about this, and Franco sent me a comments after the show last night. We talked about the Montreal Expos. By the way, yesterday was a great night
very good.
To sharing all the kind of contents and things like that. But one thing we had two things, but I'm not going to go there, maybe later. But I think I did not emphasize most more about the family trip at the Montreal Expos. Like many of us in our top were younger when the Montreal Expos start in the 69, 70s, and 80s, right? And I forgot to mention many trips I did with my dad, and with after that, a little bit older, with my friends to go to the game. And then I did not talk about the price tickets you can buy for $1, $5 the ticket in the back. You know what I mean? There's something I forgot to mention. During the show yesterday, I was review the show. I said, "Oh, I forgot about talking about the price of you." Ask people how much do you pay your tickets, right? When you go to the game, are you sit at the top or you sit at the bottom? Are you on the first side, on the first base, or the third base? Something like that. You know what I mean? Did you catch ball? What kind of autograph did you do? And all the kinds. This is another show I can create more about that for sure for the Montreal Expos. But that's another thing. Then my last story, Mr. Tap, and I didn't mention yesterday was, and I said sharing with Franco on the comments, like when I was doing the mascot for them, my car, my parking lot at the stadium, it was at the same place with the players, like the players, because we have to go under, and we have at the extremist parking lot. Only for the people who work at the office at the highest management, and then the players. So we have access to go straight to the locker room, everything like that. Anyhow, and they have like people. You have a guard, two guard. Anyway, and you have the exit with the entrance. When you go to the exit at the end of the game, for me, it would take me about 45 minutes, 1 hour. Get out, everything like that. Yeah, people, fans. I know not many people in Montreal Expos fans, but you still have fans wait for the players to sign autographs. So they stop the car and they sign autograph and they move. So me, I was coming with my car and park over there, and then I was leave outside. But my point behind that, like BMW, Mercedes, and the car. Me have a big caravan at the parking lot. Yeah, like the BMW, the Ferrari, the car, the Porsche, everything like that. So when we get out, whatever it was, Tim Wallach in front of me or anybody in front of me, I was follow them, right? And they would stop to sign autograph. When you see the caravan, everybody was moving out. Nobody stopped me to ask me about
Wait, I'm Yuppie.
So there was like nobody asking me. I was ready to drop my windows down, and then but no, not at all. Like they just forget about that. So it's like, yeah.
I'm curious, maybe not just in baseball, but I wonder if in hockey too. Like, if a team wins a championship, does the mascot get like a ring, or like
yes,
is the mascot part considered part of the team?
Yeah. They get a ring because a part of the team. I got one with a. I don't have this anymore. I don't know what I did with that. I was working after that. They sent me back in the minor, Montreal Expos. I got a job to Montreal, the Vermont Expos at the minor league baseball at the single A during the summer. They build a new mascot and they want to have someone to take care about that. So anyway, I get the deal for 2 months and a half to work there with the Montreal Expos, and they win the Vermont Expos and the single A. It's a rookie. It's a minor. It's the worst, but not the worst. The bottom of all the minor. Then I got a ring. We won the championship. I got a ring. Then I moved to the Roanoke Express in the East Coast Hockey League, and to work with them, video coach, everything like that. But the summertime, they have a baseball team, and I said, "Hey, I'm there to do mascot. I can make more money." So they hire me to make the mascot over there. I create my own. I create a mascot for them, everything like that. And because the way the mascot are made,
you created your own mascot.
Yeah. So
what was the mascot? Whoa! Wait a second. What was the mascot? What did you create?
I have a tour. It's called Jumping Jack. It looks like Elmo. Jumping Jack. So, but the mascot for the team was a dog, and with that team, I did a guy inside, and they won the championship with the Colorado Rockies affiliation. I got a ring over there. Then I moved in the Mississippi St. Wolf and the East Coast Hockey League. I did the same thing with the mobile team in Alabama. San Diego Padres AA. I don't know if you remember the pitcher Penny Peavy, Jake Peavy example. Anyway, and we won again. And Bill Shanahan gave me another ring. So I have like 3-4 ring during the minor league baseball.
Nice.
So it was working during the winter time. It was a perfect deal. I was working during the winter time, and then the summertime, that had nothing to do. Come back. I was working as a mascot over there, so I did. That's why the reason I did a lot of minor league baseball. Then I created my own mascot. So anyway, so short story. It's all about. We're going to move on to the hockey tonight. Welcome everybody. N26 is in the house tonight. Welcome back everybody. We're going to flew a couple of news around the NHL. Marco and Artap. Bad news for the Chicago Blackhawks. Already, Laurent Brossoit, the goaltender ex of the Winnipeg Jet, is going to be out for 5 to 7 weeks with a meniscus.
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 Yeah.
There you go. And then it's going to be missing approximately maybe a couple of weeks in the regular season. So hopefully he'll be ready for the upcoming season. Brossoit signed a UF3 contract with the Chicago Blackhawks. Peter Marechek is the goaltender over there. And the backup at that moment is the rookie Sweden kid. I would say Southern Drum, but it's not Southern Drum. Anyhow, maybe it would take a couple of games over there. The Colomubus jacket, this is a really important news. Kaden Lindstrom last season missed part of the season with a lower back problem, and I think it was a wrist, broken hands or wrist hands at some point. He's already going to missing the rookie camp for the Blue Jacket. He's going to be also limited with his time on the main camp. A lower back problem, you never know. It's no guarantee. It's unpredictable, and we'll see what happens. But this is then a good news. And then many fans want to have a kid in Lindstrom at some point. So I would like to hear from each one of you what you think about that situation for the Columbus Blue Jacket and Marco.
Yeah, that's that's definitely concerning, right? Like we, leading up to the draft, we talked about all the players, and that was definitely one of the bigger flags with Lidstrom. That and by the way, Coach, what was interesting is how Montreal had their draft behind the scenes video fall drop like last week, I think. Well, Columbus had one as well too, and I watched that, and it was very interesting. Like similar to Montreal's draft video, they don't name other players, right? But you can kind of hear other conversations, and you could hear some of the scouts and other executives in the room talking about Columbus. And I forget who it was, but one of them, he kept mentioning, but I'm a little concerned about his vision and his hockey IQ, right? And I think they were talking about Caden Lidstrom. So pretty interesting to see that. I know for me, those are the two big factors, right? It was the back issue and definitely the vision. I'm not sure he's going to play center, but this is, that's a tough thing for him. Like he'd love, I'm sure, to be ready to participate in the rookie camp after getting drafted. You're excited to get that opportunity, and with a roster like Columbus, who knows, he might have had a chance to maybe even win a spot if he had a really good camp, right? So we'll see how that plays out, but better for them to be conservative and let something like that heal all the way and see where it goes from there.
Awesome. And I thought you were going to ask you this question about the Toronto Maple Leaf. Nick Robertson does not have signed his contract yet as a RFA. And some rumors, maybe some team could offer an offer sheet, maybe make the trade, or maybe they are not close to have a new contract. So what you thought about that situation, Nick Robertson of the Toronto Maple Leaf?
Well, it hasn't been much of a surprise. I think that they've been trying for a while to see if they could trade him. Problem is, and he's also not 100% content with being in Toronto because he's not drawing the type of ice time that he had hoped for. But I mean, you look at his results. I mean, he's had spurts where he's looked very good, but for the most part, consistency has been the biggest issue with him. And last year we saw that he didn't draw a lot of time even in the playoffs as well. So it looks like they're trying to move him out. And the problem is, what team will take a gamble right now at this stage? It's not going to be a lot of money, but it's a matter of, I don't think it'll be an offer sheet, to be honest with you.
No.
Even though
But
it would come fairly cheap though.
he has told them though that he doesn't want to play there anymore, right? So it's not just
Yeah,
Toronto wanting to trade him. Like he's told them that he's not interested in playing there anymore.
but
So
I think
he's
it's
a
part and parcel together with the fact that he's a little bit displeased with the situation, Marco, and I think Toronto doesn't want to start off the season with that cloud over their head.
yeah. Like if I'm Nick Robertson, I don't know if I really understand this move, right? Because like he has, I think you can make the argument that he didn't really get a lot of opportunities under Sheldon Keefe, and you can debate as to whether he took advantage of those opportunities. But the thing with Toronto is that they were so tight to the cap. There was a lot of times that maybe they would have liked to have him up in the lineup, but they just couldn't afford. It was so tight. Like sometimes they were playing with nobody. They were playing with like a 22-man roster just because they didn't have cap space, right? So I think he's been a
Yeah,
little bit of a victim of that. But what doesn't make sense to me is that that was all under Dubas and Keefe, right? So I'm not, is he, I guess, not satisfied with what he's hearing from Tree Living and from the new regime there, right? So
well, I
ultimately, it
think
sounds he's made his decision, and you don't have a lot of leverage when you're an RFA, but Toronto,
no, not at all.
they need a like there's rumors right now that they're looking for another left winger, right? Like if you look at their left wing, it's a little bit weaker than it was last year with Bertuzzi leaving, and so
And the writing was on the wall as well, with Knives playing as well as he did last year, and you could tell that that's the player they're really high on right now. So he is available. We'll see if it materializes before the season starts, or it's one of those things where he goes through a similar kind of season.
Talking about the Toronto Maple Leaf, LDP, welcome back in the house. Big fan of the Sabres. Welcome back. Hopefully doing well, LDP. Montreal Canadiens, they have a rumor about Philippe Zadina, draft 6 overall pick at the same year like Kokanemi and Yakupov. But possibly could offer enough PTO from the Montreal Canadiens or the Toronto Maple Leaf. They have some point wasn't mentioned on the social media Buffalo Sabres, but it was not true. The story was not true. It was mentioned by his agent. We know Zadina played last season with the San Jose Sharks, but they have no contract in front of him. So, what you thought about that solution? Let's start with Marco.
wow. Philip Zadina, right? Like talk about a case of betting on yourself and not winning, right? Like it's usually when players bet on themselves, it works out, but in this case, it did not. He walked away, agreed to sever his contract with Detroit, and signed with San Jose, and really didn't work out. So, yeah, like to me, I really, really don't see a fit in Montreal. Like I really don't see that he would have any room on that roster. Like maybe there was a chance, like if they wouldn't have signed Line, maybe, but I just don't see a spot for him in Montreal. But like I said, like for me, teams like I brought this up on another podcast, and they kind of laughed at me. But for me, I I think teams that are really, really tight on the cap, like whether it's Toronto or Pittsburgh, teams that really need to fill out and get a little bit more depth on their forward unit, yeah, why not? Kind of bring a guy like this into it for a PTO. No harm, no foul to do that. I just don't see a fit in Montreal. Like who's he going to challenge for a roster spot? We're going to look at all the rosters here in a little bit for the wild card, but it would make sense. Like I said, Pittsburgh, they're looking to add a little bit more depth into their bottom nine. So a team like that's looking to find really cost effective solutions to fill out their roster, maybe, but I don't know. We'll see how it works out for
Yeah,
Mr. Zadina.
that could be, Marco. Yeah, you're right. I mean, some teams might take the chance, but like you said before, a guy that really banked on himself and didn't come through, a guy that said he was going to fill the net every single night and has yet to
Against
score
Montreal.
more than, what is it? I think the highest is 25 points in a season he's got,
Yeah.
and when he was with Detroit, I think.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's to say he's been a disappointment as a number one pick is is really the whole story there. And it's too bad because he's got the size. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Paul Jarvie in the sense that he never realized his ceiling. But
He's a very peripheral guy. He plays on the outside. Like we all know he has a good shot. Like he played really well in as part of in Halifax. I think he played and had a really good stint there. Really nice shot, but he plays to the outside, never goes to the inside. He's tall, but he's pretty lanky. He's not a very strong kid either. So we'll see.
Yeah. The other thing I would add is the fact that he would take away from a team like either Toronto or Montreal, especially Montreal, would take away a position from maybe a young kid that you could bring up and at least evaluate at a critical time. So I don't see it for Montreal. We'll wait and see if he lands anywhere.
Very interesting when you look about that year draft 2018. Usually, I would say to you, 90% all the top 10 have a good career in NHL. Like they are really good. But that year draft guys really not there. Like Dalin Shevnikov is good. Kokanemi is still question mark, right? He is play game, but he's only 160 points. Then Kachuk. So the top 4, you have 3 good players so far. But number 5, Barrett Ayton for Arizona, not much there. Following by Philip Zadina, number 6, not much there. Then you have Quinn Hughes. But after that, guys, Adam Bovis, Vital Kravtsov, and then you have Evan Bouchard. So you have only 5 players.
Wasn't Dobson in that draft too? Noah Dobson
is number 12.
Yeah.
So before that is Oliver Wallstrom. So that year, 2018, guys, was not very good. And if you look about this, is like imagine example like like Montreal draft Kachuk example, right? If Detroit get Quinn Hughes, what it would look like today compared I can go away like this, but that year, guys, you have a lot of mistake how they evaluate their players, and I don't want to waste too much time about this, but that year 2018 was not successful overall. They have a really important news, more than important news, but it's something you have to pay a little bit more attention. The St. Louis Blues, they create apps exactly like the cap friendly, but only for the team, and it's called the Blues Friendly. And they gave them for the fans everything it was on the cap friendly represent the St. Louis Blues. My point behind that, I think Marco and Artap, it would be nice if every team in the NHL create those kind of the apps to find out salary cap and contract, everything you get on the puck bidja now or the cap friendly, you can get the same thing with your specific team you're looking for. And I think that would be a good, I think it would be fun to have this. I don't know what you think about that. I don't know if you look about this, you read that article, whatever, and after, but I would like to hear what you think about this.
No, I did not read that one, to be honest, but I mean, it makes total sense. It should all be overt, and every team should have an idea of what's going on and what the different situation cap wise and every scenario you can think of is available. The only thing I would say is I would prefer something that is more consistent among all teams and not variations of the same play, so it's easier to navigate for general public. But if it's just for the team use, then obviously that would probably serve their purpose.
So I didn't read this either, Coach. So what you're saying is that they've developed this app that's kind of like cap friendly. It's only for the Blues, but they're offering it to fans as well too. So you'll be able to download the app, and fans will be able to.
Yeah. So if you want to have the friendly of the Blues, you can downloading, and you get all the information like you do on the cap friendly. So I like that opportunity. You as a Montreal Canadiens, they have something like that. I will do it. If you're looking for some information, boom, you can get it. I think that's a great way to do that. So I'm not going to lose too much time about that, but I think that we
Welcome.
Waima
Welcome.
TV, welcome in the Family Hockey National Show. Appreciate that. We have a few people knock the door, guys. Danielle Forget is in the house tonight. Talk about Zadina. Jimbo back in the house. Her friends, Jimbo is in the house. RDP back in the house for Newfoundland, by the way. Hopefully in well. And if anybody want to have more contents about the Montreal Canadiens or any team in NHL, we have any question you want to talk about the hockey, you can send an email at ask codefrenchy at gmail.com. So 2 at askcodefrenchy at gmail.com. I put the email on the chat earlier, so you can send me everything. If you want to have any information about your own team, I can provide you this, no problem. It's all free, by the way. So why not to do it? Here we go. First news on Montreal Canadiens. Slafkovsky get maturity, is getting more mature. And your expectation about Slafkovsky? Slafkovsky have an interview on the reporter in Slovakia, if I can recall it that way, talk about what he accomplished the first 2 years in NHL. He's not happy about his performance. He said he have a long way to become a better player in NHL. He need to keep his job, and to not other players coming behind him, and he work harder every single day. And he said that it's not about only my performance, but as the team want to become a better team also at the same time. But you can see his mindset, how he is wired to see what it takes to become a better hockey player in NHL. So I like how he's really mature for his young age. He wants to learn more. His work ethic is great. And I think this is it was the right pick for the Montreal Canadiens. But now, from 10 point to 50 point, year number 3, Mr. Marco, what do you think about that situation?
I agree. Like reading the article and overall, this is pretty consistent. We've heard this kind of talk from Slafkovsky before. Somebody that appears to be approaching things in a very healthy, humble way. Like somebody who understands that just because he had a bit of a breakout at the end of the last season, going into camp, it's not like it's automatic that nothing is going to be given to him, right? Like he needs to go in there, work at least as hard, and if not harder, to continue to improve and to get even better results, right? So I think this is very positive. I like his mindset. I'm assuming a lot of those things are being fed to him by the management team. Saying he comes from a hockey background. His dad's played hockey before, so it's good. Like I think this is really good mindset for him. In terms of production last year, I think we did kind of our projections. I'm conservative, for those who think that, to try to understand kind of what Slafkovsky is going to be. For me, he's not going to be like a huge goal scorer in the NHL. I think he's going to be more of a play driver and somebody that gets more assists and he scores goals. So for me, like a good jump would be maybe like 25 goals, somewhere in that neighborhood. And, if he can, net like another 35 assists, 40 assists. So around 60 points, 65 points, I think that will be good. It's not just the points, it's continuing to learn how to play the right way. So 60, 65 points, I think I'm still happy with that. I'm not sure he's going to be a 90-point player in the NHL, guys. But he brings more than just points, right? Like it's going to be the presence, the size, and the playoffs, like winning battles and stuff like that. So, I don't think just looking at his points totals are really going to capture the value that Slafkovsky is going to bring.
And I'll tell you want to add something about that quickly.
Yeah, I myself as well. I think that I'm most pleased with the fact that he wants to continue to learn. He seems to be in the correct mindset to do that. He's always looking to challenge himself to get to the next stage. As he put it himself, he realizes what he did in and more than the second half was probably the last 50 games or so that he sort of established himself a little bit more with the team, and he felt more comfortable playing with his line mates and whatnot. But he's the kind of guy that won't stop. Like he's going to try to improve his game in whatever aspect he feels needs to be improved upon, and he knows now what to expect, and that's what drives him. So I look forward to solid results from him on a consistent basis. I agree that I don't think he's the type of player that will hit 90 points. I mean, he might pleasantly surprise us, and that would be fantastic.
Sure. Yeah. I'd
Um,
be happy.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you'd have an entire line that's could get around that amount. Would be great. But as long as we're seeing improvement in his overall game from year to year, and even if the production isn't increasing at the rate we would expect to see it at, it's still good. Like if next year I think we were very similar, Marco. We had him at around 60. I had him at 65, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That would be a great year out of him. I don't see it now.
So I'm looking at the comment from Jay Fed here. He's comparing him to Bambi, and are you Jay Fed? Are you sure you're not talking about Kakanyemi? Like
KK.
Kakanyemi, it was definitely Bambi on the ice, but I think Slav maybe wasn't in his first year in particular. Maybe wasn't as solid on his skates, but last year, like I think he was winning most of his puck battles. Really, really good balance out there. So I don't see that being an issue. And in
I
terms
think
of
he
him,
was talking Marco the first year. I think the first year,
oh,
Slafkovsky,
okay.
but I don't say he's talking that way, but I think if you refer Slafkovsky that way, I think his first year, this is where Slafkovsky struggled more to stay on his skate or to get a little bit. He fall more often, but not the second year. I agree with you, Marco, about that. So it's
No,
conscious, but I just
I
want
wouldn't
to.
call him. I
And
wouldn't call
again,
him
he
lazy.
worked.
I wouldn't call him lazy defensively either. Like he
Yeah,
back checked right, and I don't know.
and he worked on that the entire summer, right? It was all about focus, and he had those special glasses that allowed him to concentrate on certain things. And I mean, it was great because he was much more aware of his surroundings last year, and you could tell he wasn't put on the ground as much as he was in the past.
For me, Slafkovsky is a monster, and in many ways, I see that. Like the guy is 6'3", he's going to retrieve the puck, he's going to win the battle. And at the end of the day, Marco, when you said he's not a scorer, for me, if he can become a 30 goal A plus with 80 points, it's about approximately the same kind of season Max Pacioretty did with the Montreal Canadiens many years. Pacioretty 33 goal, 35 goal, 37 goal, 30 goal. That's what
Mm.
Pacioretty brings to the Montreal Canadiens, and he brings 67, 65 points. If Slafkovsky raised those kind of number, for me, I expect this will be a great pick, and I think Slafkovsky can get those kind of number overall. I don't see him at 25 scorer like Josh Anderson. I see Slafkovsky better.
Yeah, I don't know, coach. Like I think he thinks the game like I think he's an elite vision for sure. We'll see. Like we talked about how Patrick Laine might be able to help him with his shot. I think he'll score a lot of his goals in front of the net. Like I'd like to see him be able to get the puck away a little bit faster. I see Ellen. Ellen is with us. Nice to see. And we're talking about Patrick Laine and how a lot of people didn't think it was a good fit. Like, Ellen, if you watched us here, like I think we talked about Laine potentially being a good fit. I still don't see Zadina really being a fit, but you never know for sure. But
Well,
no,
about
I think
that's
we're all
enough for
excited.
me to take it, Marco. Le Montreal Canadiens, I'm going to talk about this next 5 minutes. I think they're going to start 14-7, and they will need extra players because our HP is not there. I think, in my opinion, Zadina is better to Barry Boulet. Said that, if you can get him below $1 million, if you have an opportunity to get Zadina with the Montreal Canadiens for the year, at the beginning of the season, and then after that you can send him down. It does not work, and
Yeah,
that's it. That's
the
all. So I think the risk
the
for the Montreal
problem is
Canadiens to give a PTO to Zadina is not bad for him. He can play with Montreal if he can stay with the team. If not, he go back to an American hockey. I think for him right now, Marco, is to find a team where he have a better opportunity to play in NHL.
well, that's exactly it, coach. Like I don't think he would be the one that would want to go down to the AHL to improve his skills. I think it's just the type of individual and the attitude that is prevailing. He's looking pretty much to be, a third line player on the team, and I don't know how many teams are in need right now for that.
Exactly. That's Sheldon give us a question about that. Sheldon just answer that question, by the way. David is back in the house. Ellen, she's in the house also. Sheldon, welcome back. Away. Don't forget, guys, to click on the like. Hopefully, you're doing well. Do you want to jump in on the wildcard for the wildcard or consist the news? It's half of the show right now. What you want to do?
Yeah, I just address the one question that's there. I think Sheldon put it out there. Said, "What do you have to lose to sign Zadina for literally very little money?" And I would say you're losing the opportunity probably to bring up Roy. And I think
why are you losing Roy? Roy is already in the lineup.
Well, not necessarily, Coach. Not necessarily. We'll go over it today. I think he has every opportunity to make this, but suppose he doesn't show well.
Yeah, but that's
at the training. I don't think that they'll hesitate. And it might not be Rob, but it could be some other young player. Like at this point, I think it's critical that you establish the kind of players that you're going to go with as you're cleaning out the bad contracts and they're coming to their end. You want to see what prospects are capable of playing at the NHL level. And, this is the best time to do it because chances are they're not a playoff team just yet.
You're giving away the answer to our show.
That's why I just said chances are. Chances are.
Coach, yeah, it's up to you if you want to continue with headlines. And go ahead.
All right, so let's go with the wild card, and then we'll come back with all the news from Montreal Canadiens, if you don't mind. Wild card for the wild card. So Marco, explain a bit more what it's all about, and then I'm going to give you the what we have to what we're going to do to find out if Montreal is a wild card.
Yeah, so I think a lot of Habs fans and us included, we're in the process of doing our projections and looking at stuff before the Patrick Laine trade. And now I think it merits a little bit of a review, like you have to kind of reconsider your position a little bit. In the past weeks, we've been doing all kinds of deep dives. Coach has been great at pulling up some numbers, looking at, what are some of the benchmarks that Montreal has to hit potentially to be competitive for a playoff spot, right? So how many goals for? And we went line by line and tried to project, okay, what does it look like? How many goals do you think each line is going to score? We broke it down by player, doing projections. Goals against is another key thing. But all that to say, the calculus has changed a little bit. And I would say the mood of the Montreal fan base has also changed a little bit since the Patrick Laine trade. And, I think for me anyways, I kind of fall somewhere in between. Like I try to be very realistic and unbiased in terms of, trying to look at what's possible. But at the same time, I think it's a fair discussion to see, okay, like where is Montreal in this wildcard, discussion and race, and I think the premise of this show, guys, is we're going to look at the teams that Montreal would be battling for a wildcard spot, and we're going to be doing a bit of an analysis. And, the teaser here is that I think out of all the teams, Montreal maybe is kind of a wild card for the wild card, meaning that, maybe this is kind of like a dark horse team that might fight for a wild card. And within the lineup of Montreal itself, there are many wild cards that will decide whether they are competitive or they are not competitive for one of those playoff spots. So that's kind of teeing up our premise for tonight there, Coach.
All right, great comments. I'm battled with the people in the chat about Slafkovsky. See, Slafkovsky has not scored 30 goals, Marco. This is a bad first overall pick.
I don't think so.
It is.
I don't think so.
It is.
If he scores 28 goals and has 55, 60 assists, he's like an 80, 85
Wait. 60 assists for Slafkovsky. Who put the puck in the net, Marco?
Well, you got Caulfield and Suzuki.
Caulfield. How many goals he's scoring in his shed per year? 28 is max. 26 before that. Never scored 30 goals yet. Everybody can't say him at 40 goals. We have to wait. Suzuki is highest number. Do you think Suzuki is going to become a 35 goal plus per year?
He's going to be on the power play on the first unit power play,
Yeah,
right? So I
could very
ultimately
well.
either way, like coach, if people are thinking he's going to be a 90-point player, then that's at least 50 assists, right? Even if you're scoring 30, 40 goals, right? So for me, what would be a bust or would be very
I never said
disappointing?
a boss. What I said for a first overall pick,
Yeah.
Slafkovsky cannot become a 30 goal in NHL. That's disappointed for me. That's what I said. Now, I never
Like,
said the word boss for him. I see if
could
Slafkovsky cannot
could
put a
he
puck 30 goal per year, that's
yeah.
not what I expect. I think I'm trying to expect higher at 30 goal. At 30 goal, they don't see him at 25 goal,
Like, I'm not
at
saying that
20
he'll
goal.
never score
Yeah, but
40. I'm not saying he'll never score 30 goals. I just wouldn't expect it. Like, he won't be a perennial 30 goal scorer like you're comparing him to Pacioretty. Will he flirt with that, and will he maybe score 35 one season here and there? Yeah, sure, but I just don't think he's going to be a like really, really kind of consistent goal scorer in the NHL. He's going to have more assists than goals. That's my opinion.
yeah, he should. I mean, is especially if you have somebody like Caulfield on your line. I think that that's the intent, is to make sure that he's going to be your number one scorer on that line, and so you're going to need, like, yes, I agree. Coach, has Caulfield scored 40
40.
goals yet? No, he hasn't. He hasn't. But then again, Slafkovsky hasn't gotten 50 assists yet. So I think as one increases, so does the other. If he's getting the assists, somebody's getting the goals.
We're getting
Yeah.
off topic, gentlemen. Getting off topic.
Here we go. Let's move on. Wildcard. Wildcard. So what we did, Marco and Artab and people in the chat, what I did, guys, I did not put the lineup of each team. What I did, I go by line. And that will give you us a little bit more look like what they look like. And so what I did, guys, this is the first line for the Boston Bruins. Pasnak, Lingholm, and Pavel Zaka. The Detroit, DeBrincat, Larkin, and Raymond. By the way, the Raymond, it's not close to sign a new contract yet. Giroux, Tim Suzla, and Brady Kachuk. Then you have the Buffalo Sabres, Peterka, Thompson, and Alex Stock. And the Montreal Canadiens are at the first line, guys. Slafkovsky, Suzuki, and Caulfield. Now it's your turn to tell everybody in the chat, maybe give us a ranking of what you look like the Montreal Canadiens on that line versus other lines, or you can mention about that. We're going to go line by line, by the way, so I don't know, Marco, that's the properly, the right way you want to talk about that way.
Yeah, like let's go with it. Like so yeah, because the idea is to kind of compare the rosters and see if with these changes, like what does it do to our thinking around how do they compare to these other teams. So to be honest, looking at these first lines, you have to say that Montreal is in the bottom tier, I would say, of most of these. Like I would probably rank their first line I would say fourth in this list. So I'd probably, for me, the most dangerous first line here, to me, in theory, it could be Ottawa or even Detroit, right? Like if you look at the firepower on those lines, it's hard to say that because Pasternak is, a top 5 best player in the league. But Lindholm, it's a question mark as to whether he's going to produce, and Zaka's really never been a point producer in the NHL, right? So, to me, I would say if I had to rank them in terms of points totals, looking at this, like, I think it's either Detroit or Ottawa. I'll say Detroit first. If Lucas Raymond continues his projection, and then I would say Ottawa. So Detroit, Ottawa, Boston, Montreal, Buffalo is what I would say in ranking in terms of first lines.
And I'll tap.
Yeah, I'm I'm gonna go against that, Marco. You know what? I to be honest with you, I really, if they're healthy, I like that Buffalo first line. We saw what Tage can do. I mean, that's what you want out of a centerman, somebody that can play both ways, but somebody that could will that puck into the net just with his size alone. Alex Tuck, another one, if he stays healthy, and that's been his biggest problem. Is a guy that can also drive the play. He's not afraid to get in there. And Peterka last year had a good year as well. So I really like that Buffalo line quite a bit. I agree with you about the Boston. Like Lindholm did have a good playoff, but is it something that he can continue? If he does, then at least he has Pasternak to go along with. I'm not 100% sold on Zaka on the first line. The Detroit line, the Brinkat, if he's scoring, that's great. If he's not, it's a big liability on the first line. Lucas Raymond, I think is going to be a great player. I mean, he already has shown very good signs in the last couple of years, and Larkin really is the glue to it all. Like if he can stay healthy, it's there. Kachuk and Stützle, very solid, and I absolutely love what Montreal did last year. So I just think maybe the order in my mind is a little bit different. I would probably say Buffalo, and then
I had Buffalo last. You have them first.
Yeah, I have them first. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
And then I would probably, wow, because each line has one weakness.
did you see RTP
really
just did 2 flip backwards in the bed right now?
Well, I agree with him. If he thinks that
you
as
honestly
well.
believe? So you honestly believe that the wingers on that Sabres line are better than the wingers on their lines?
I think I'm looking at it as an entire line, right? And again, if they're healthy, because last year, let's face it, Buffalo doesn't make the playoffs last year because Thompson was out of the lineup for the majority of the season. Like he was out, I think, 35, 40 games. Yeah, well, with those at the beginning, yeah, he missed a lot of time at the beginning, and it caused them. I like Ottawa's. I just, I don't know. I would put him probably second in that pack, and then I would say I like.
So
Detroit.
Tate Thompson played 71 games last year.
71.
Yeah, so he missed 11 games.
Thompson did have a great year last year compared to the year prior to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, I think it was a lot of it was due to the injury. Like it took him a while to get back into the swing of things.
Does that have a wrist injury?
Yeah, I think so.
I can't remember, but
so.
To me, he missed 11 games. Like again, like a lot of Buffalo players had to definitely regress last year. But again, if you just look at the talent, the pure talent on these lines, for me, I definitely rank Buffalo last. To me, it's a close tie between Ottawa and Detroit in terms of pure talent.
All right. Well, I'm surprised everybody. I put Ottawa number 1. Me.
Yeah, it's very close between Lucas.
Yeah, I have Ottawa too. Yeah,
Lucas Raymond is somebody that's really, really starting to evolve as a hockey player. DeBrincat definitely had, and I'm not even sure DeBrincat is going to play on the first line, to be honest. I'm not sure that would be the best fit there. I know this is just like projected lines off daily face-off or whatever, right? But to me, like Larkin and Raymond, like to me, the argument you're making about Buffalo, about them having problems because Tage Thompson was injured, I would make that argument for Detroit. Right? Like Larkin was injured for many, many games last season, and they really struggled with him out of the lineup. So if he can stay healthy,
how many games did he play? How many games did he play? Check.
Yeah,
you're right, because it's when he went down that Detroit actually went into that slump. Because at one point they were comfortably in a playoff position, and then when he came back, they made that push at the end again, and fell like a point out of it.
Yeah. Let's see. Dylan Larkin last year, 68 games only for Larkin. 68 games.
So what I have, Marco, for that one for me is Ottawa, Detroit, Boston, Montreal, Buffalo.
Yeah, we're pretty close, Coach.
So that's pretty much what I said. And Montreal could be higher at Boston. Depends on the development. But my point behind that, and for everybody to chat, like, if you look about this, look the age of Slafkovsky, Zuski, Caulfield, and then look every line after that, you're going to see Montreal. The future in front of them is pretty good compared to other line. And I think that's, we can go all the night like this. I want to move on for the second line. But I think it's a good exercise, Marco, to do that way. I think this is great.
Yeah. And one thing, so before we move on to the next, so the way that I consider this as a whole. So I think Montreal, let's say they're in the bottom tier of that first line. To me, where the
I think they're in the
advantage
middle.
maybe is going to be the bottom six, right? So I'm very curious as we move forward here to see the bottom six of Montreal. Are they going to be stronger than some of these other teams? Because we know Montreal, they're going to be built on depth, right? Like on rolling four lines. So I'm excited for the second line, coach. Let's see what we got.
Marchand, Coy, Morgan Kiki. Tarasenko, JT Coffer, Patrick Kane. I'm smiling. All right. David Perron, Josh Norris, Drake Patterson. Zucker, Cousin, Jack Quinn. Newhook, Kirby Doc, Patrick Laney. Here we go. Now we're going to start with enough tap, Mr. Enough Tap. We're going to share with us what you think about that. RDP is really listening very closely right now. What are you going to talk on that line?
Well, this time it's not Buffalo. I mean, I like, again, we're looking at potential here, right? Because we haven't seen Kirby Doc play an entire season or even close to that yet. Patrick Laney, we're hoping for Patrick Laney of old and not new. And Newhook, we're hoping that he continues to increase. Like I absolutely love the potential of that second line. And they could rank either one or two on this list right now. The one with Norris and Batherson, again, it's I mean, very talented. Now you add Perron, who can score and put the puck in the net. Like that's very attractive. But can Norris and Batherson stay healthy an entire season? Especially Norris, who's been plagued every year with multiple absences on the squad. Detroit, you're looking at an older squad, weak at center. I would say I don't think Comper is a second center for any team, let alone Detroit. Boston, I kind of like. We know what you get out of Marchand on a consistent basis every year. I think Charlie Coyle had a very good year last year as well. And Geeky's really coming into his own. So if I had to rank him, I'd probably, and again, I'll go out on a limb here. I'll say Montreal first. I would say Boston, Ottawa, Buffalo, and then Detroit.
Interesting. So the name of this show, guys, the title on the thumbnail is Wildcard for the Wildcard. To me, this is the biggest wildcard. This whole line, that should be the name, the nickname of this line is the wildcard line, right? Because 2 out of the 3 members, like there should be a huge question mark on the back of the jersey as much as 77 or 92, right? To me, this is the question, right? Like if this line can be productive, if you can get 60 points out of Kirby Doc, and if you can get 70 points out of Line, like 35 goals, 30 assists or something like that, and if Newhook can be around 50 points, then based on our analysis, guys, like compared to what we saw last year from teams that how many goals they needed by their second line, Montreal has that potential, but that's the big question mark. So to me, looking at these lines, again, Josh Norris, same thing as Kirby Doc, right? Like huge question mark there in terms of him being able to stay healthy. And the difference between Josh Norris and Kirby Doc, I think you can argue that it's kind of like freakish luck, that's resulted in a lot of his injuries. While with Josh Norris, it's a chronic shoulder problem, right? So it's a little bit different. I'd be a little bit nervous compared to Kirby Doc because maybe Kirby Doc just walked under like a ladder or something, or he's ran over a black cat. Like I don't know, he's just been very unlucky. While Josh Norris, it's a chronic health issue. So, but just on paper here, I think it's pretty even. To me, I agree with you. Like I'm a little concerned about Detroit at center, and Tarasenko and Patrick Kane are definitely getting older. So Patrick Kane, like he did have that hip resurfacing surgery, was able to be pretty consistent last year. We'll see if he can play a full season. He's definitely getting older. Tarasenko is not the Tarasenko of days of old. Like maybe he's good for like 20, 25 goals, in that spot. I'm not sure if this is kind of going to be the line, but we'll have to see. So to me, this is very even. But if I had to rank, I'm going to, based on potential, I'm going to put Ottawa first.
Marco, before you go there, I just ask
Yep.
this question to you, then you can, because ADP said that those line guys coming from Delhi off website. So I just cut that, all right? But if Benson play on the second line and Zucker on the third line, that would change your mind. That's
of course.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely I saw that comment, and I think, Lindy Ruff is going to have a lot of different options here. I think this is going to be similar to Montreal. They're going to want to kind of spread things out a little bit. I don't think if you looked at the behind the scenes, so that's another team, by the way, that did a behind the scenes of the draft video, Buffalo Sabres. Theirs was very, very interesting. If you follow that video, not only do they talk about the draft, but they talk about kind of putting together their fourth line, which we'll see a bit later. And they were very excited. Like, I think we all scratched our heads a little bit when they signed Jason Zucker, but they were very excited. They felt that this is exactly the kind of guy that they wanted in their top six. That's what Kevin Adams said in the video. Like so I would be surprised if Betson gets up there, but I'm sure he'll get some time. But I think they're going to probably start with Zucker there. So all that being said, so I'm still going Ottawa first. I'm going to put Montreal there second. I'm going to put Buffalo after, and then I'm going to put Detroit. And I'm going to put Boston last, just because. I don't like. I know Marchand, like guys, like he's definitely on the downswing in terms of his production. Like maybe he's going to be around like 60, 65 points. He's no longer like a 90-point guy. Charlie Coyle, do we think he's going to outproduce? He's going to be at the same level as Kirby Doc, you would imagine, maybe like 50 points, 55 points. And Morgan Geekie, I'm not even sure he's going to be on this line, but I don't think he's proven anything to be in a top six either. So I put Boston last, Detroit second last, then I go Buffalo, Ottawa, and Montreal second, and Ottawa first.
All right, so I run the show, so I can make some change.
Yeah, I know you could.
So I put Marco Benson as the second on over Zucker. Okay, so think about that one over there. All right, and then I said everybody is healthy.
Well,
okay, so everybody is healthy. It's not like maybe they are healthy. If you look about the Boston Bruins, Marchand, 37 years old, and then Kiki on the second line for me is a problem. Kane, same situation. Tarasenko, absolute, and Coffrey should not be there. Perron, getting older, 35, but Norris is great, and Patterson is good. Quinn, Benson, and Cousin, in my opinion, this is a fire, in my opinion. And Montreal, Doc, Laney, and Newhook, or put anybody else there. It's not changed anything. Doc, line, carry on, like any other line, they are maybe the best. So my line, Montreal, this. Number 1, Montreal. Number 2, Buffalo. Number 3, Ottawa. Number 4, Detroit. And number 5, Boston.
Yeah, I have Montreal second after Ottawa. I think maybe you're a little bit high on Buffalo there. Like Dylan Cousins also had a bit of a tough year, had a really good World Championship though. So I think he needs to have a breakthrough season, or go back to what he did. And those other two guys are still improving. We'll see.
If you put Benson there, then obviously I would put Buffalo ahead of Boston. I would agree.
Yeah, exactly. So here we go, guys. We go with Frédéric Poitras and Brazo. Berggren with Kopp and Rasmussen. Greg Pinto and Amadio. Greenway, McLeod, Benson. We're going to delete Benson there. All right, we're going to put Zucker there. Does it make sense? I think it will be more better. Anyhow, Joshua Roy, Dave Rack, and Josh Anderson for the Montreal Canadiens on that third line. What do you expect from that website?
Okay, I guess I'll go first on this one.
Yeah.
So for this one, I'm probably going to put Buffalo first for this one. Just because I still think, honestly, like you guys can put Zucker there. I think Benson will play there, but even if it's Zucker,
I agree with you because you don't want to expose a young man right away on the second line with Cousin. I completely agree with you about that.
Again, like if you look at Kevin Adams' video during the draft video that they released, you get the sense like that they really want to put him in that top 9.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I like that Buffalo third line. It's got like a Ryan McLeod is very fast, but it's a very tight one. Like I really like Shane Pinto and Ridley Gregg as well too. Like that's a nice line. So, but Montreal's right there too. Like if Josh Anderson can bounce back, I think Dvorak is good for when he's healthy, and that's the assumption we're making that everybody's healthy. I think he's good for about 40 points, usually like 18 goals, 20 assists, 22 assists, something like that. And then Joshua was kind of the question mark on this line, right? Like if he can, I think we had him at Nerdtap like around 15 to 18 goals or something like that, in our projections. So to me, if I had to rank it, I'm gonna, I'm gonna say Montreal first. I'm gonna say Buffalo second, Ottawa. I would actually go in reverse order. So the exact order you see from up to down is exactly how I would have it. Montreal first, Buffalo, Ottawa, Detroit, and then I would have Boston last.
Oh, I can wait for Patrick. Patrick, talk about Marco on that one. We're going up top.
Yeah. I like the Ottawa line. I think Greg has a lot to offer. He's perfect for third line. Shane Pinto would be absolutely perfect for that position as well. Amadio's more of a defensive minded player and can use his body a lot. So I like the Ottawa line there. I would probably put them first. I would put Buffalo second. Third, I would go with if you have a bounce out year from Josh Anderson, that would help Montreal tremendously, because I think if Dvorak stays healthy again and he can hold his own and carry a lot of the play there, Joshua Roy will be an absolute asset to that third line. So I'll put Montreal third, and then I'll put Boston, and then Detroit.
Wow.
Do you have Detroit? Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Kopp at this stage in his career. Berggren has to prove himself still. I mean, he's got a great ceiling, but he hasn't quite shown it. You could say that he hasn't been given the opportunity. I can accept that, but if I haven't seen it, I can't give him that credit just yet.
And just
so that's why
there's certain people asking like, okay, why wouldn't you have Armia on the third line? Why wouldn't you have Gallagher? And
sure,
I just want to make this note here is that, in my opinion, that's the beauty of Montreal's bottom six, is that, in my opinion, you could easily interchange Gallagher and Anderson, and I don't think the production is going to be that different, to be honest. It's really going to be a stylistic fit in terms of who plays better with who. And we'll see when we get to the fourth line. But, honestly, does it change the calculus that much if you have Anderson or Gallagher on the third or fourth line? I think they're probably going to play similar minutes, to be honest. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like more of a label than anything, because I think that bottom six, you're going to be able to roll them out almost the same amount of minutes per game. So let's not get too focused on Anderson, Armia, Gallagher, who's on the third line, who's on the fourth, because they're pretty interchangeable.
Here we go. Very different for me. First of all, my concern for Boston guy is Brazo and Pointra. Two players with no experience in the NHL, so it's a question mark for there. I disagree with you. Andrew Kopp play the best role as a center, as a third line in NHL. Like his role in NHL, this is what you would like to get. Rasmussen guy is a 6'5" right there. Berggren is a little bit interesting case. I think he maybe not be that guy with it, but I think is really a guy could put. He's a small player, but I like his speed. On my third line for the Ottawa guy, Greg Pinto is pretty good. Amadio is coming for the Vegas Golden Knights. Question mark for that players. Young players for Greg, but I think he brings some energy at the third line. Pinto is very good on the offensive. McLeod now is all about speed. Benson, already is what he bring on the table. We bring some physicality about that. Let's just see if he can handle the speed of the game now with McLeod and Benson.
But
That'll be my question mark about the Buffalo Sabres. And finally, for the Montreal Canadiens, is out question mark, in my opinion. Dvorak, Anderson, and Roy. Anderson and Dvorak coming for the very bad year, and I'm a little bit concerned about their speed for Dvorak. And Roy, again, with inexperience, that's my biggest question. If I see both that line over there, put this all together, guys, compared to Inartap, I go straight with the Detroit Red Wings. I think that's balanced overall compared to any other line. Ottawa, Buffalo, I put Montreal number 4, and finally Boston. Boston could be increasing a bit more. They're going to bring energy. Frederic, that's the kind of player you like to get. But Brazo is a big fellow, but I don't know how he can handle for his second year in Boston. So that's all I got, guys.
Well, the only thing, Coach, is I think we said last time that we switched Benson to the second line, so that makes a big difference in my eyes in terms of.
You put
Buffalo,
Detroit number 1 and number 5.
No, that's Detroit. I'm talking about Buffalo. Like we made the switch. I think you said. Since
Zucker
it's your
Benson,
show,
yeah, but that's not change. I put this under my average on my number 3. But I can understand your point of view about that one for sure.
Yeah.
Let's move on to line number 4, guys. We're getting there. The show will be a little bit longer, but I think it's a good exercise, Marco, to do the way we did it tonight for the Montreal, everything like that. So number 4, guys, Betcher, Kastelik, and Mac Jones. Tyler Motte, Joe Veleno. The pizza. Christian Fisher. Then we have McEwen and Otachuk. And then Gregor. Buffalo, Malestin, Lafferty, Obi Kubel. And then you have Gallagher, Evans. Before everybody start, no doubt in my mind, Montreal is number 1. And you can see the bottom of that 4 line, guys, for all the team in front of Montreal Canadiens. It's not looking good for what we got. And Marco, when you said you mix the player like that on the bottom 6, that's what Montreal is the best team on that division, on those 5 teams we got tonight. So Marco, I apologize if I.
No. I think you're 100% right, Coach. So I agree. Like number 1 for sure, Ottawa is Montreal. I probably would say Buffalo second because I think they really designed this line to be very specific. Like they want it to be very physical. Sam Lafferty is a really underappreciated player. I think he's a very good player. It's going to be between Detroit and Buffalo for number 2. But I'll say Buffalo. Like I view them, they have the potential to be kind of like the identity line that Islanders had with Matt Martin and Clutterbuck and Cizikas. Like there'll be that kind of line. I don't know if the offensive production will be there, but they're going to be a very important part of Buffalo's culture. Then I would put Detroit. I think Joe Veleno as your 4th line center is pretty good. Tyler Motte is a useful player if he can stay healthy. But again, Detroit will have other players. I'm not sure Tyler Motte might just be kind of like more of a depth player. They might have somebody from their farm system challenging to make the team as well. So I like. So I'm going to say Montreal, Buffalo, Detroit. I will go Boston, and then I would put Ottawa 4th.
I flip with you, Marco. I put this idea, Buffalo, Detroit. I put Detroit, Buffalo together. I think Motte and Veleno more have a little bit more. The Buffalo is Lafferty, but still questionable with that. But it's just a question of the preference. Almost equal at the end of the day.
Yeah. Enter top.
Yeah, I had exactly your order. I jotted it down here. I have Montreal, Buffalo, Detroit, Boston, and Ottawa in that order.
Yeah, and like I would say, guys, like what's interesting about this, when we were looking at the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd lines, what I find interesting is, so if the number 1 team, so whoever is ranked number 1 in whatever section we looked at, what is the gap between number 1 and number 2? Is it dramatically different? Like, is one of the first lines so much better than the other one that it's a huge advantage? I would say no. Like it's pretty close until you get here. Like Montreal is like way like it's not even a contest on this 4th line. So overall, the analysis that I would say is that Montreal, out of all these teams that we've looked at in the Atlantic Division anyways, their bottom six is a huge advantage. Huge advantage to, I would say, all the other teams that they're competing against. So really all I think they need to do is, if they can be competitive with their first two lines, if they're two lines, they don't need to be the best and there's no way they're not going to compete with Florida, Toronto, Tampa, like those kinds of lines. They don't have that firepower. But if they can keep Montreal, if they can get, like, again, that's that the amount of points that we calculated in the analysis that we did, I think what's going to really kind of boost up Montreal's chances is this bottom six, because I think it's the strongest in all of the Atlantic Division, in my opinion.
And I would add, even from a defensive perspective, like they're all pretty solid. I mean, Gallagher doesn't have the speed to compete as much, but I think both Armia and Evans are very solid in that regard. And like you said earlier, if we just switch with that third line and put somebody a little bit more effective in a back checking position, then that would be unanimous for Montreal for me.
Here we go. That's give you a little bit what happening there. Now we're going to go to the defensemen, guys. The all the defensemen. I'm going to keep Montreal out of that. You know exactly who they look like in Montreal. You can get that one over there. Honestly, Madison, Coley, Hudson, Savard, Jakai, Barron. You can tell me what's Mayu, blah, 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 but it's not trouble. But I'll give you a little bit that's fun right there. So if you look about the defensemen for the Boston, Zadorov, McEnroy, Lingholm, Carlo, Peak, and Laurie. You have Chariot, Zayler, Edvinson, Petrie, Mata, Kofdelson. You have Zab, Sanderson, Shabbat, Jensen, Cleven, and Bernard Tucker. And then Buffalo have Clifton, Samuelson, Power, Orikaru, and Dallin and Biram. And don't forget Johnson for the Buffalo Sabres at some point for that. I don't know if Harmonic is still with Ottawa. But this is give you an idea what they look like for the four team, and then Montreal Canadiens. I'll give you an idea and give me your point of view there.
Entertap, did you want to go first? Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I mean, when I look at just these four teams right here, I mean, the immediate thing that strikes me is having Bowen Byram, Rasmus Dahlin, Owen Power. I mean, that's quite the excuse the pun, powerful line that you have there, or pairings that you have there. I like Buffalo the way they're situated. I mean, I'm not crazy about their third pairing, but I think they're okay with their first two. I look at Detroit's. I mean, I love Seider, but yeah, you're dealing with a lot of older defensemen here. And Sherratt I don't think has any business being on the first pairing. Jeff Petrie, you have Mata and Gustafson. I mean, it's a little bit weak there. They really need to address that. I like Boston's quite a bit. I like the addition of Zadorov. McAvoy's, we know, has been a solid. Carlo, big body and plays solid both ways. Lindholm has been solid. And their third pairing hasn't been bad at all either. So if I were ranking these, and then, sorry, with Ottawa, again, Sanderson is fantastic. I think Shabbat's better suited on the second pairing. Zub, I would almost put on the second pairing. I'd feel more comfortable there, but he can handle it in spot duty on the first pairing. So I would probably rank these four. I'd go Buffalo, Boston, or maybe, I'll go Buffalo, Boston, Ottawa.
Where do you put Montreal in you got to put Montreal in your ranking in here too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's the issue with Montreal. I mean, you're dealing with the rookies again, right? Even though Savard and Matheson are on there, I think that the potential is definitely there. I've said it for a long time that based on the way they've drafted over the last 3 years, I mean, defensemen have been their prime focus, and I think if they come to fruition, these players, then it's obviously going to be one of the most tight knit defensive core in the NHL, I would say. They're not quite at that stage right now. But if I were going to rank it with Montreal, I would say Buffalo, Boston. I'll go with Montreal, Ottawa, Detroit.
Pretty close. Pretty close
Me
to what
too.
I had.
I'm very close there.
Yeah.
I have only
Yeah.
one modification, but I will wait for Marco.
Yeah. So I have Boston first, to be honest, just because of the overall kind of experience and everything else.
Yeah.
Like right-handed shots, like it's just a really well balanced. I like Buffalo in terms of pure talent. You can't argue that they have the most talent, but those are 3 out of your top 4 that are all left-hand shots. So I don't like that. I guess I'm a traditionalist. I like kind of players being the right side. So I'm going to say Boston, Buffalo, Montreal, Detroit, Ottawa.
Same thing like you, but with Marco, I switched Ottawa, Detroit, and then with an attack, I switched Boston over Buffalo. But that's
Buffalo and Boston was quite even for me. Like I hesitated either way. I just like the potential of what a Darlene, Byron, and Power can bring.
Like talent wise, it's not even close. Like looking at Ottawa guys, like I really don't like what they've done with their decor. Like to me, that Chikrin trade for Jensen, like I know he's a serviceable player, right? But I don't like that right side at all. Like not at all. I think Artem Zub is okay as like a 4th, but I'm not sure you're gonna really want Jensen, to play 22 minutes, 23, 24 minutes a night. Like I'm just not liking that Ottawa blue line at all. And Detroit, to me, like the reason I have them second last is again just it's the Ben Sherratt Petrie. Like I wouldn't be surprised if you see Evason play with Sider, and you have Ben Sherratt and Jeff Petrie play together, since they have that experience playing together in Montreal. But I'm not a huge Oli Mata fan either, to be honest. Eric Gustafsson, he's a very good power play specialist, but I don't think he's going to be playing a lot of. He shouldn't be playing a lot of 5-on-5 minutes. We know how reliable he is.
How that goes.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like in terms of these Atlantic teams, guys, like we can talk about Hudson. Like based on some, like Coach, I don't know if we still have that topic for tonight. Were we still going to talk about Hudson?
We're getting there. I just want to finish with the next one. There, I was going to talk about Mike Madison in Montreal, but I will skip that one. The goaltender. Here we go. We have the goaltender now. Swimmen, Corpissalo, Dalbot, Lyon, Forsberg, Ulmark, and UPL, and Devon Levi, and they have Primo and Montembeault. So we have all those 5. What it looked like for you on that one.
You go ahead first, Top. Or do you want me to go?
I would. It doesn't matter. I'm just trying to rank them here mentally. I mean, I gotta like Buffalo's duo there. I think that they both have quite a bit to offer. I think Luukkonen is a big body and played solid in many of the games. So I would probably put them first. Wow. I'll put Detroit. That'll be 5th. I'm not crazy about that combination. Second, I would probably put. I'm not crazy about Korpisalo going there, even though Swayman will probably end up doing 55 to 60 games himself. But I'll put Boston second, Ottawa third, and Montreal 4th.
Okay, so that was confusing. So
you have Buffalo,
yeah, last
Boston
or first?
No, first. Buffalo first. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And Boston second, Ottawa third, Montreal 4th, and
Detroit last.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I'm gonna go Boston first. I'm going to go Ottawa second. I'm going to go Montreal. No, I'm going to go Montreal third. I'm going to go Buffalo fourth. I'm going to go Detroit fifth.
When you said that exercise for everyone and you, Marco, in attack for the goaltender, are you consider the defenseman in front of them or just the goaltender?
No, no, I'm looking just at the goaltending because I think, for example, Boston will have a greater defense core that could
Yeah, and what
sway
are we
me to
looking
go
at?
Boston first.
Are we talking about wins or are we talking about like, save
Yeah,
percentage? Like how are we comparing them? Like that's kind of the question.
Well, the questions that you compare them by their skill and what they look like versus
Yeah.
not what they have in front of them. That make lies a team, right?
Yeah. So yeah, for me, I think I would stick with what I have then. So I have Boston first. I have Ottawa second. I would have, you know what? I would switch then. So Boston, Ottawa, Buffalo, Montreal, Detroit.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Exactly what I got for you. That's exactly what I
so
said.
so we only switched with Boston and Buffalo again. I guess you guys don't have much faith in Luukkonen.
Well,
I
I think
I, I think
I have him over Montembeault, right? So, but I just have more faith in Allmark than Lokinen for sure, and I have
Yeah.
more faith in Wayman, right? And Corpusalo. Corpusalo as like your backup, that's like a luxury backup in the NHL. Like, this is
well,
to
it
me like
depends on.
a good job
Yeah, I
at
mean,
almost your 1-2 punch, right?
the Boston defense will help that out, but he's been quite different depending on the team he's played for. He's shown
Allmark,
two different sides. No, Corpusalo. But
yeah.
I didn't make that a huge issue because, like I said, I think if they sign Swayman or when, he's going to probably pull in close to 60 games. So um, most will rest on him. And I don't know if has he played a full season, like in terms of when he was with Allmark. I think they split duties most of the time.
Mhm.
So the question was the World Cup for the World Card. After we
There's a lot
review
of
all position line and then the defense, the goaltender, what it looked like you standing about Detroit, Montreal, Ottawa, Buffalo, and Boston.
Well, I guess the technically coach, like, and in your thumbnail, you had other teams in there too, right? Teams from the
Yeah, so just give it was the World Cup spot honestly, but I don't want to compare that. But I
yeah.
can
So
see.
to me, like, in all honesty, like if Montreal is going to qualify for a wild card spot, it's really, I think, going to be fighting against Washington, potentially Islanders, like, one of those teams from Metro. I wouldn't be surprised if 5 teams from the Atlantic Division make the Stanley Cup Finals this year. But either way, it's going to come to, like, they're going to need to have a much stronger. I can't remember, Coach. I know you had this figure before, but Montreal's record against the Atlantic Division last year, that was the whole story was right there, right? I believe they were at least 20 games under 500 or something like that against the Atlantic Division. So they're going to need to play at least 500 in the Atlantic Division, and that's really where the whole game is going to play out. So that's the reason this show is called Wildcard for the Wildcard, because if everything goes as planned, I won't say perfectly because nothing ever goes perfectly, right? But if Montreal can against that second line, here are the biggest question marks. Montreal's second line, will Doc and Line A be able to be a productive second line? Will the Habs, pretty inexperienced decor be able to be a little bit more solid? And can Montreal bring down the goals against? A lot of people say goaltending, but to me, it's all about goals against. Goaltending, I included in goals against. It means they need to play better defensively. They need to limit the high scoring danger chances. So to me, it's about, can they bring the goals against down? Will the second line be more productive? And will the rookie or the younger decor be able to kind of be sufficient in order to help them do all those things? If the answer is yes to those 3 things, I think Montreal is going to be in contention. I don't think it's going to be very hard. If I had to give it a chance, if I had to give it a percentile, I'll say there's like a 35 to 40% chance that Montreal could be competing for a wild card spot.
And after that,
I think with regards to Montreal, well, actually, let me answer the question first. Wild card for the wild card. I mean, I think that they'll be there in terms of contention. Again, provided that they stay healthy. That's the number one issue, especially some of the key players that we need. I have no doubt that our goals for will improve. Probably hit the 255 magic number that we've been talking about and even exceed that. My biggest concern is, can they keep the puck out of the net? And sometimes, until you've had like defensemen sometimes come into their own, it takes a few years, even though we've seen promising things from some of our younger core. It's difficult to say that they'll all come together at the same time. Like, we're still waiting for Barron to make the next move up. We're looking for Jack Eye to improve a little bit more defensively. To me, until Gooley gets on that left side, it's going to be an issue. And then who comes in? Like, again, Hudson, it's fantastic that, and I think we were going to talk about this later, Coach, with Pierre Maguire's comments. Like, he's got no concern about his ability to contribute.
So now talk about Larson, because I'm going to changing the subject.
Yeah. No, but I'm just saying it's all about the young defensive core, and it takes a while for them to really come together as a unit. That's why it's so important right now to have that Matheson and Savard in there at least until trade deadline time, and then maybe one of them can go at that point. So
what percentage?
It's going to be I would say it's under 20. Under 20.
Ooh, wow, 20%.
Yeah.
That they'll be competitive. That they'll be competitive for a wild card, or that they get a wild card?
No, that they get a wild card.
Okay.
Marco, did you get do you see my comments?
Yeah,
it's
I can see your
I will
comments.
tell you. So I put the number of the point, Marco. Boston 93,
3%.
Buffalo 91, Ottawa 90, Montreal 88, and Detroit 85.
Hey, if that's the case, then again, I don't think it's impossible that Detroit takes a bit of a step back, Coach. For Buffalo, there's so much pressure in Buffalo. I know RDP is not going to want to hear this, but it's really a make or break year for that management team, right? Like, Kevin Adams is going to be under a lot of pressure. There's going to be heads rolling in Buffalo. They really, really, I like what they did to their lineup. They added some more grit to their lineup and everything else. But they're, the players that had rough years last year, they're really going to have to bounce back. And some of those, again, I love the talent on their blue line. I just feel like there's a lot of left-hand shots, and they all kind of play the same way, right? So I'm not sure what the chemistry is going to be on Buffalo's blue line. So I don't know. We'll see, Coach.
Coach, give me your points again. Which teams?
I said 93, Boston.
For who?
Boston. Yep.
Yeah.
91, Ottawa.
Yeah.
No, sorry. 91, Buffalo. 90, Ottawa. 88, Montreal. Detroit, 85. Now, when I said that, I think I'm a little bit too high between Buffalo, Ottawa, Montreal. It could be dropped at 3 point each one of them. Maybe Boston 1 point. But I'm talking about the team finished that way. Boston, Buffalo, Ottawa, Montreal, and Detroit. Montreal could be in front, and Detroit could be at the bottom. This is going to be Steve Eisenman and the bad situation. And that's
guys. If Montreal finishes ahead of either Detroit or Buffalo, watch out. First of all, the fan bases are absolutely going to go ape shit. They're just going to absolutely lose it. They're not going to be happy. And yeah, the management teams are not going to be happy. I think the Ottawa fan base also, they would not be happy.
Well, yeah, I think that's where the biggest pressure is, Marco. I think it's in Ottawa. Like, to me, there's a distinct possibility Montreal will finish ahead of Ottawa. Detroit, I see them battling it to the end. I think one of the things we have to clarify is if this happens, then we're looking at 5 teams from the Atlantic and 3 from the Metropolitan making it in. And so let's start from the top. You got Toronto, New Jersey, Carolina,
Okay.
Rangers, that's 4. And who am I missing?
Tampa Bay,
Florida.
Florida.
And Tampa Bay would be your number 5. So we're looking at possibly 2 of these teams being in there. So I don't know. I think Buffalo has a great opportunity. If they don't do it this year, I don't know. It'll be very difficult to swallow that pill.
We'll give a little bit extra time tonight, guys, because we're not going to be live until next Sunday. So we're going to give you a little bit more. So don't forget, please, to click on the likes and then sharing your information in the chat, I think. The next one we'll talk about, guys, is a battle to watch at the main camp. And that would bring you, Marco, and our tap at the question about Lane Hudson and many others. And I hope Helen is still there, because she will be happy about my exercise. By the way, it was a good exercise, Marco, for everybody in the chat, what we just did. That gave you a little bit more, a deeper of what they look like each thing. By the way. So, Montreal Canadiens and our tap and Marco, I believe they're going to start 14 forward now, a 7 defenseman. This is what my projection is. So, this exercise is going that way. Now, we have Cooley, Madison, Savard, guys, are already in. In my opinion. No doubt. Barron is in because he's going to send back a Laval. He's going to have to go to waivers. So that's the defenseman number 4. Jekai guy, no doubt in my mind, is in with the Montreal Canadiens. That's give now to see Hudson there, my number 6 defenseman. And then I will give you the next one there. It's going to be a battle between Mayu or Strobel to the spot number 7. So put this all together, guys. You have 2 questions for you. Pierre Miguez talk about the Hudson cannot play defensively. And then you talk about the fact like Montreal have another spot at number 7 is going to be Mayu and Strobel. When you look about this, Marco, when I check a little bit longer, that's affect the Montreal Canadiens at some point, because if Mayu play, he become a right defenseman. That push now Cooley on the left defenseman.
Yes.
And if they do this, Marco, possible Hudson is going to be in Laval because of that situation. So Mayu, I believe, he will be the defenseman can push Lane Hudson out of the lineup, in my opinion, at the beginning of the season. That's said all year long. And I think Mayu is going to be over Strobel. If they don't want Mayu to be with Montreal at the beginning to give him more time in Laval, but that gave Goulet, Madison, Savard, Barron, Jekai, Hudson, and Strobel. So now you have all the piece of the defensemen. It's your turn to talking about Hudson and everybody else about that. So here we go.
I think one major element that we're missing here, guys, you can't sleep on Reinbacher. You can't. Like, he is very, very dedicated to trying to make the Canadiens lineup this year. I know a lot of people see Mayu ahead of Reinbacher, but think about it. Like, as a coach, what do you want in the lineup? Like, we all know Mayu's upside in terms of offense and his physicality, but if you're Martin St. Louis, are you going to be more comfortable having somebody like Reinbacher, who's maybe going to play a little bit safer on your bottom pair, and give him that time? I think, like, to me, I'm not saying Reinbacher for sure is guaranteed to make the team, but for him not to be on this slide for the battle, I think is missing it. I think Reinbacher for sure is part of the battle to be part of this top 7. So that's the first thing I'll say. One question is Struble waiver eligible? Or is they can send him to Laval and not lose him?
He's a waiver, still a waiver. He's still missing 44 game.
Okay. So in terms of Hudson, guys, and this is why I think that, people sleep. Not only do people sleep on Reinbacher, but they sleep on the Hockey Nation podcast, because months and months ago over the summer, we've been talking about this here, about how maybe for Lane Hudson, they might be inspired a little bit about what Anaheim did with Carlson last year and do load management. I'm not sure if Pierre Maguire sneaks our show here and there, but on his podcast, coach, that you're referring to, where he's talking about Hudson, him and Tony Marinaro were also talking about that. So we talked about that months ago, that maybe that would be a good option for Lane Hudson, is maybe not send him to Laval, but maybe they load manage him, right? So maybe he's up there the whole season, but maybe he only plays like 45 games, and that's fine. Like, because Kent Hughes is pretty clear that they weren't going to try to hide him in the lineup. They're not going to play him as like as a 13th forward to just play him on the power
or
play.
7 defensemen, something like that.
Yeah. They're not going to do that, right? They want to play him on defense. So maybe a good solution, if you're right, and either Mailloux or Reinbacher. And again, my hope is that one of those right-handed defensemen, whether it's Mailloux or Reinbacher, does make the team, because then it does push Goulet to the left, right? So then you would have Goulet and Mailloux, or Goulet and Reinbacher, Matheson and Savard, however you want to do that top four. And then all of a sudden, then you're maybe rotating Jackeye and Hudson, depending on the kind of opponent that you have. Maybe if you're playing Florida, you're playing Jackeye and you're not Hudson, right? So to me, I would say that they do 7 defensemen, and they're maybe rotating Jackeye and Hudson, and maybe both of them don't play all their games. Now, Jackeye is probably not going to be happy about that, but something's got to give. I think they want to give Hudson some games.
May not that.
So here's what I would say, Marco. I get your argument about Reinbacher, and I don't disagree with it necessarily. My only pushback would be on the fact that last year he didn't have the greatest of experience in terms of the amount of time that he played. There was a bit of an injury situation. Then the team was not very good, and I don't know if he's getting the experience or the background to really be at the level of NHL just yet. I think that he would be better serviced one more year at Laval. And I've seen improvement already. And I've read improvement of what he's done this year, and he's bulked up a bit as well. And he looks really, really good. But I think Mailloux has that experience at this point, and he was one of their top defenders last year. So if anybody's going to move in on the right side, I would probably put Mailloux there.
But would you say,
Hudson?
we're talking about, but Entertop, we're talking about battles, right? Like, I think it's fair to say that Reinbacher is going to be battling. Like, if Reinbacher has a better camp than Mailloux,
okay,
I don't think that happens, right?
Yeah, what serves the team overall better, to have Reinbacher have that extra year of experience?
I don't know. Like
I think it all would.
Well, it depends. Like, they've seen that sometimes, like with Slafkovsky, right? A lot of people were saying he should go to Laval. He needs more experience or whatever, but they decided that it was better to have him with the big club because they have him closer to Saint Louis and to Stéphane Robida and all that, right? So it's hard for us to say. Like, I think people are sleeping on Reinbacher just because he had that tough season at HC.
No, I like what I'm seeing. I like what I'm seeing with him, Marco. It's just, I guess when I compared it to, I've seen enough improvement in Mailloux to say he would not be out of place if he was here. But you're right; it's a battle at training camp, and if we see that Reinbacher's heads above Mailloux at that stage, then he merits the opportunity to at least play for a number of games and then see where it goes. The other thing I wanted to bring up was you mentioned about load management with Hudson. Now, when you say load management, what do you see him playing in the season if he were up in Montreal the entire year?
Yeah. So like I said, it could be, let's say they play him 45, 50 games. I think that's a good rookie season for him. That means he's basically splitting the games with Jackeye. Unless there's injuries, right? Unfortunately, we've seen Goulet get injured a lot. So assuming everybody is healthy, and you have Goulet and Matheson that are your 2 top left-handed defensemen, then you have Jackeye and Hudson kind of splitting the games. Doesn't have to be perfect split, right? But they're kind of rotating, and they load. And the main reason is because you're load managing Lane Hudson, and you're kind of giving Jack-Eye is the one that kind of gets screwed out of that, but somebody's going to get screwed, guys. There's just too many left-handed defensemen, right? So somebody's going to get screwed out of this for sure. So to me, I don't see, unless if they're all healthy, Gooley and Matheson aren't going anywhere. We all agree that we would like to see Gooley play on the left side, and we hope one of those young players on the right side is able to make the lineup. So, to me, I don't see sending Hudson. Hudson's going to get some games at the NHL level. Whether they send him to Laval for a bunch of games and he comes up and plays, or maybe they have him all year and they just load management. That it depends. There's different ways you can do it. But I would be shocked if Lane Hudson plays, the whole season in Montreal. I would be pretty surprised.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I just think 45 games might not service him best in terms of development. That's my only concern. Like if you listen to what Pierre Maguire was saying, he was saying he definitely brings like the NHL skills to the table. No question about that. What he was questioning was his ability defensively. But you know what? I think that's a bit unfair too, because we've had similar types of defensemen in the league, and you don't have to look further than somebody like a Quinn Hughes or a Luke Hughes that didn't have the best of years defensively. Offensively, obviously, they were masters, or at least Quinn Hughes was. So
it's not just
you have to play. My point is you have to play.
It's not just the defensive play, though. It's more his size, right? Like and I'm not talking his height. It's his strength, right? And, coming from college, it's a huge jump playing, where you're training and practicing 3-4 times a week and you play one game, and you flip that around when you go into the NHL. You're playing 3 times and you only get to go to the gym once, right? So with someone like Lane Hudson, I think he's smart enough to figure out the defensive side of the game. He's never going to be an elite defender in the NHL. For me, it's more just the strength and his overall ability to endure the grueling physical full season in the NHL. That's my only concern with Lane Hudson. It's not his hockey IQ, his ability to defend properly. Like, he'll learn all that. He's going to make a bunch of mistakes, and that's totally normal. The only reason you would load manage Lane Hudson is on not the conditioning, but his ability to kind of take that much on in his first rookie season as a defender. That's like how heavy? He's like 165 pounds, 170 pounds.
165.
Yeah, but he's also bulked up a little bit. Like if you saw the condition of his legs, like he's got these powerful legs that it just won't stop skating. Like I'm not worried about him assuming a lot of time. Yes, he'll make mistakes defensively. I think the way you correct it is by going out there and improving your game, and that only comes by playing extra. I don't know, 45 games, I would consider that best for his development at that point. That's my only concern with the load management aspect of it.
Coach, what do you think?
Here we go. So first of all, Hudson, stay with Montreal. Don't worry about Hudson. I watched him for 3 years. He was too small, could not do that. He's going to get beat. Cannot make it. Every time he beat the odds. Every time he does it. On every level, from AAA to go to the national team with USA for the team at the World Championship, and then he played the NCAA. This kid is great. So don't worry about on the other side. And all the great players on the offensive side of the game are not great on the other side. It will find the best for me for Hudson, guys. I think you did not mention that. It would be to find a great matchup with him together.
Yes.
Like the great players. Is it Rebecca, Mayu? I don't know yet. Right? But I think that would be where he need to be sure you cover him every time that. So that would be my most interesting situation for Hudson. No doubt on my mind. Marco did not said Rebecca's make the Montreal Canadiens. What he said is a sleepy players who can't possible to see with the Montreal Canadiens. When he said that, Marco, what I would said, it would be more benefit for Rebecca start with Laval Rocket for have more ice time to be on the top on the special team and to play more game to adapt himself with the smaller eyes and they have a little bit more experience. When I said that, no doubt in my mind, he will be called up at some point with Montreal again with injury or with bad performance. That will be my prediction about Rebecca. On the Mayu case, it would become now for me. This is where I'm still not sure with Mayu versus Trouble. It all depends, in my opinion, of what happening on the left side versus the right side. I think for Mayu, they would give say, look, go start in Laval, go play a couple of games, 7, 8, 10, 15 games. They're going to reevaluate Marco Leonardson, what they look like. They're going to reevaluate what the group together they look like. And then they're going to move maybe back and forth. Mayu is trouble at some point. But that would be my expectation. Trouble start in Montreal Canadiens. If everybody have a good camp, by the way, if Trouble have a really bad camp and Mayu have a good camp, I think it'll be the easiest thing. For me, for Rebecca to stay with the Montreal Canadiens, he has to play on the top second pairing and plus, or the top four defensemen. On the third pairing, I don't see Rebecca with the Montreal Canadiens. On the flip side, I will see more Leonardson as the third pairing because he brings other things on the Montreal Canadiens, right? But the kid is so good on the puck movement, on the different thing I bring on the table. Fit with Martin St. Louis is looking for. I think that will be my. This is how I see that the result of that exercise. Hudson say, Mayu start in Laval with Rebecca. Struggle. Mayu get the call right away, and then Rebecca is going to join Montreal again. I believe one is going to trade someone at the trade deadline. I said someone. I don't said Savard. I just said someone. And the young core, Marco, with Hudson, and we don't talk about Engstrom, by the way. They have no chance to start Laval, but he's a little sleepy around. With Engstrom, Mayu, Rebecca, Hudson, guys, and we don't talk about Konishkov, but just those three players I just mentioned to you, that would push one of what you see on the graphic now out of the Montreal Canadiens on the top. So I'm talking about maybe Madison or Savard. They cannot keep Madison Savard for upcoming season. No doubt they cannot do that because the young course coming, Marco, you have to open spot at some point. And that's not including guys Barron the next 1 month, maybe out in Montreal Canadiens too.
Yeah, it goes back to what we were saying before. Like as much as you like the experience of both a Matheson and a Savard, they're in a bit of a pickle because they have to give some of these defenders the time on the ice. And what better time to move either Savard or Matheson than before the trade deadline time, or even earlier if it happens.
So, guys, the only thing I'll say is we know how hockey coaches. You remember, like one of my favorite lines. I wasn't a huge Dominique Ducharme fan or anything, but I like that line where he talked about cards. Like, when I play a 3 of hearts, I want to know it's a 3 of hearts. When I play Jack of spades, I want to know it's a Jack of spades, right? So we can't underestimate how much coaches like predictability, know what you're going to get when you put somebody on the ice, right? This is more than true when it comes to your defenseman, for sure. So, again, I like Mayu. I'm just not going to be shocked if Reinbacher comes in, plays a very, very, he might not be flashy, but he's going to play very good, solid minutes or whatever. And I wouldn't be surprised if he really impresses the Habs coaching staff and somehow he makes that spot. That's another argument for Struble too, right? Like, even though he's not right-handed, he has a little bit more experience and he did show that he could be pretty steady back there too, right? So if you're adding Hudson, you already have like a, Jack Eye there. You've already got Gooley there that's still kind of learning. We just can't underestimate how much coaches value dependability when it comes to their decor. So to me, whoever it is that is going to make it coming out of the camp is going to maybe not the one that has the sexiest rushes, the one that's going to score goals, kind of all that. It's going to be the one that plays the steadiest, that's going to the spot, right? So something to look out for in camp.
The only thing I would add to that or throw in, and actually, Marco, is again, I don't disagree with your assessment. I would just say, since we're in this kind of a predicament at this point, what's the rush in bringing him up too early? Even if he has a great camp, like, why not give him an extra year of development? And especially given the fact that I think we've established that the percentage of us getting a wild card are not very high. So at this point,
because they've talked about they want to take a step this year. Like they went
yeah,
out,
but a step means you're not finishing in the bottom 5 in the league or second or second last.
And Ken Hughes has said they want to be in the mix. Tell that to Nick Suzuki. Tell that to all like young veterans. They want to be competitive. So this whole kind of development stuff, like they want to go out there. Like they're not going to say our goal is to make the playoffs. They're not going to say that at the golf tournament. But Martin Saint-Louis, coach, you said this before. Even in the last 2 years, you look at the way Saint-Louis coaches. He's coaching to win. You think that's going to change this year? No, it's going to get even more. Like he's going to be burning inside to be competitive and to win. So
yeah, but the point is, does Reinbacher afford you a greater chance than Mailloux at making the playoffs?
That's the question, right? So if Saint Louis feels and Stéphane Robida feels that Reinbacher is more dependable, we saw what happened with Jack-Eye when they felt he wasn't being dependable. Where did he go last year to work on his defense? Now Mailloux, again, he came up for one game, was very good. He played a good game. He was a little bit more like, let's not wash over Mailloux's season last year. He had amazing offensive numbers. He was an all-star in the AHL. But if you watch the games, guys, if you watch the games, it's not like he's a shutdown lock. Like he's not like, at an elite level defensively yet either. Like he still has a lot to learn defensively. I love Mailloux. He's mean, he's big, he can skate, he has offensive ups. I don't say that I don't think I don't like Mailloux. I'm just saying
no. It's not that.
People are sleeping on Reinbacher, but his superpower is, from what I've seen, is that he's a little bit more fundamentally sound than Mailloux. And I'm just saying, don't sleep on that because coaching staffs value that. And if Montreal wants to win this year, they might. I'm not saying that's for sure. It all depends on how they do in camp. I'm just wouldn't be surprised if Reinbacher comes in, plays very steady, and ends up maybe playing on the bottom pair with Hudson. I think if you have Hudson and Hudson and Reinbacher in your bottom pair, and they play there all year, or they rotate out a little bit, I think that's fine. I don't agree with coach that Reinbacher absolutely has to play top 4. I think if Montreal doesn't have, a Cale Makar, they don't have a Rasmus Dahlin, where a defenseman like Matheson shouldn't be playing 28 minutes a night. So if you kind of equalize the ice time between all the pairings a little bit more, if Reinbacher and Hudson are getting 16 minutes a night on a third pair in the NHL, I don't think that's a lost year in development. I think that's totally fine.
I don't know. I agree, coach, that he should be playing it in the top 2 lines if Reinbacher does make the team. I think that's a bit of a...
Why?
For me, if you play only 12, 13 minutes, it's not good. 13 minutes, below 15 minutes, it's not a good development for Reinbacher and NHL.
Right.
That I agree with. Yeah. So that would be too.
It's all about the time.
You can still be on the bottom pair and play 15 minutes. Like it all depends on how you separate out the ice time. Now there might be the odd game if, like, let's say Montreal has 8 power plays, then maybe some nights he'll finish under 15 just because of that. But if on average he's playing 15, 16 minutes a game, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, but if he don't play the last 10, 12 minutes of the game because they are winning only 3-2, Martin Saint-Louis just said you want to win. I think for me, it would be better to play 22 minutes in Laval and to increasing his level of the adaptation and confidence, everything in Laval, then ready to play in NHL. Said that, when you compare Mailloux and Reinbacher, guys, Unfortunately, I don't want to hurt anyone you're feeling here, but at that moment, Rebecca, the potential of Rebecca, it's so much better at Mayu about potentially about that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you never know the
Agreed.
curve of the players, right? It's not always to be all the way up or there, but the potential is really there for Rebecca about this. I think, Marco, for me, with the situation Montreal Canadiens, is all depends on two situations. But three, but I don't think so. They start with 8 defensemen. If they say at 7, Marco, it all depends now if what it looked like Lane Hudson. Secondly, what it looked like Jordan Strouble. That will be one decision there. And then after that, it's going to be who have a better camp between Mayu and Rebecca to have a job in Montreal. Put this all together. If Hudson have a good camp and Strouble have a good camp, they will start Mayu, Rebecca, and Laval. But said that, they play both on the same side, right? As the right defenseman. So you have to be a little bit caution about the TOR, everything like that. But for the benefit, in my opinion, for the development of players, let's start in Rebecca and Laval for it could be 1 month. Yeah, nothing wrong to start with 1 month. Let's see what Lane Hudson look like in the NHL. Let's see what Jay Strouble. It's more easy, Marco, to put under. It's going to be that way. I believe it's going to be that way to put Jacky or Strouble on the L3 scratch every night versus to put a Rebecca or a Lane Hudson or a Mayu L3 scratch in Montreal. That's what my expectation at the beginning. And that's the reason at some point they will have to make a trade to open a spot if those players we talk about are ready to play in NHL. Overall, this is where it's a great big problem to have as an organization in NHL. If you don't have those kind of players we got in the past, guys, with Chris Whiteman.
Yeah. And to answer some people asking, would you guys agree that basically, unless he gets traded, Justin Barron is going to be like the 7th defenseman?
Yeah, man.
To me, he's like an ideal guy to be the 7th defenseman. He's not somebody they signed him for 2 years, so they have him locked up at not a big price. And, if he needs to play games because of injuries, then you're okay with that. But it's better than having one of those young guys that you're really hoping that's going to be a key piece in the future, being, riding the pine and not playing games. So to me, Justin Barron is kind of like the victim, another victim in all this. He'll be the 7th defenseman. He'll get into games when there's injuries, or maybe, sometimes Sandy likes to keep players in the mix too. Like if he hasn't played in 15, 20 games, they might want to get him in. But the problem with him is they can't send him to Laval, right? So some people are asking the chat, who can't they send to Laval or they'll lose on waivers? The answer to that question is Barron. Barron is the one that's in the mix battling for these spots. Justin Barron is the one that can't be sent down to Laval without going on waivers.
And they won't. They won't put him on the waivers.
Set him down. They traded Lehkonen for this guy. It would be bad asset management just to kind of lose him on waivers for nothing.
No, absolutely. I agree
All
with
right,
that.
quick. This is the question of the night. Mike Madison, under over 55 points, ladies and gentlemen. Now, PLW just opened another beer.
You just went, you keep going with my exact number, Coach. I had him at 55.
Marco?
Are you using my numbers as your gauge or what?
I'm going to go under.
Yeah, I'll go under as well.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I go with under on that one over there. It's the last show of the week, so let's finish, if you don't mind, both of you, to have an extra time for everybody. I think the people are excited to go there. The Battle Royale, guys, I think I have a good one right there about that one. All right, we could talk about Oliver Kapanen, more news. We're going to finish with the Battle Royale between Owen Beck and Oliver Kapanen. The potential, or what you see, the two players a long term in Montreal. Which one do you prefer, or do you think is going to be a better career in NHL?
I'll say Beck.
Yeah, you know how I feel about Beck. For me, it's Beck. I think they're a little bit different too, types of players. But
so Beck. Hopefully your future 3rd and 4th centerman. So Beck, hopefully in a couple years, he'll be your third line centerman. Hopefully Kapanen will be a very good fourth line centerman. That's kind of the hope.
Yeah.
I was just said to both of you,
Kapanen.
don't think Kapanen that way. Kapanen is going to be a great hockey player. I think he is really underrated players. I think Kapanen have more to offer. I think for me, the offensive of Kapanen is going to would be a little bit better, and the back would be a better 200 feet. But I think Kapanen, guys, remember what I just said.
Different kind of, yeah. Well, you're sleeping on Beck, though. You always do, but we'll see. We'll see.
Rebecca Omeyu.
Ryan
Bacher, yeah.
I will go also with Rebecca, like I mentioned to you. Anderson Armia.
Armia.
I'm going to say Josh Anderson, just because in terms of the question is upside.
No, Battle Royale. Which one you think is more valuable, or maybe for the Montreal Canadiens, whatever it is, honestly, preference, whatever. Nothing like upside.
Yeah,
Armia, you could play. The fact that you can bring him as a penalty kill, that's a huge plus.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. I have to say, like when Anderson is performing at the level he can, I give the edge to Anderson. But you're right, like Armia is a little more versatile. If Anderson could kill penalties, that's a really good point. Enter top.
I think I go with Armia because of that. I think overall the game of Armia is a little bit more better overall on the 3-zone, 200 feet, puck protection, anything like that. Anderson brings speed. He brings physicality when he is in. But can he score the Anderson? Anderson, 20 goals per year, the play he was playing in the past. I think, but still, I would take Armia. Anyhow, the last one of the night, guys. Joshua Roy or Michael Edge? I understand, guys. Michael is still, never. I understand.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, I'm gonna, again, it's tough. It's hard to. It's kind of the apples and oranges a little bit here because we haven't seen Hage even play in the NCAA yet. But in terms of just pure physical tools, you have to go with Michael Hage, right? The skating, the hands, all that. But I give the edge in terms of hockey IQ to Roy so far from what I've seen. But just in terms of physical, like just in terms of talent and physical tools, like the upside, I would go Hage. But he needs to, there's a bit of a gap there in terms of vision and hockey sense compared to Roy.
Yeah, you have to wait. You have to wait and see what Hage develops into. But if at this stage, I think you can only really relate it to what their talent skills are. And if you figure that Hage was selected ahead of Roy, that should say quite a bit.
But guys, in a redraft, if you do a redraft of that year that Roy was drafted, he's arguably a first-round draft pick now, right? Like if you coach, that might be an interesting exercise. I can't remember year that.
I don't remember the group.
2019.
2019. So
yeah.
If you go look at that first round, I wouldn't be surprised if he would be drafted in the top 25. Joshua Roy in a redraft.
He's 140. No,
he was low.
Yeah. Is it 220?
He was drafted like in the third round or fourth round, right?
Third round. Yeah, it's third round.
Yeah. He's 150. He's 150.
Coach, if you just look at the first round, name the players selected in the first round that year.
Towards the bottom, like the last 15 teams.
Yeah, just go one and just name the players, and we'll see where Roy should fit in.
Yeah, but I was trying looking like he's a 220, 2020?
Joshua Roy? No, I thought it wasn't it?
Let me check.
I go by draft right now, by year. I should go on the
Yeah, he was
2021.
2021. Yeah,
2021.
he was. Yeah, he was number 150, fifth round, not third.
That's crazy. Okay, so let's look at the NHL draft, the 2021 NHL draft. Okay, so you got Owen Power, Matty Beniers, McTavish, Luke Hughes, Kent Johnson, Edvinson, Eklund, Brent Clark, Dylan Gunther, Tyler Boucher, Cole Sillinger, Matt Coronado, Isaac Rosen, Sebastian Kosa, Brennan Offman, Zachary Budzik, Chaz Lucius, Fedor Sheshikov, Jesper. So guys, even just in the top 20, you could say that he would be redrafted in the top 20 at least, maybe even top 10, top 15.
Yeah, but it's a bit unfair because if you go to the second round then, Marco, and see how many would be ahead of him from that group, or even the third round.
Yeah,
So
only
I'm looking-
Marzer and Matthew Nice have a lot of game in the second round.
Owen Zellweger was drafted 34th. Josh Stone, Fedotov, Stankoven. Wow, Stankoven 47th.
Yeah, that's right.
Atu
Matthew
Ratu,
Nyes.
Colton Dock, Riley Kidney, Oliver Kapanen. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, guys. Like,
he should be in the first round.
Top, at least I would
probably
say
towards
top 20.
Not
sure.
top. Yeah, maybe around
top
20 thereabouts.
Yeah.
But still, I believe Michael Edge is going to be better at long term, maybe better at Joshua Roy. The time will tell us about that. That's what I think that's what conclude the show tonight. I don't know if you want to talk about any other things about that. Anything like that. For all the people in the chat, guys, check your notification. This is a Labor Day weekend. And check when will be the next show. We're supposed to be back Sunday night. If I'm at a possible, I move. If I move, but maybe I lose internet. If I lose internet, I have to wait when internet is back on my new condominium, but we're not sure yet. So not guaranteed. We leave the show open for Sunday night with NR this is a Liberty weekend, and that's we're going to launching the 5th anniversary of the channel next week at some point. So we're going to bring you a little bit what's going on for the upcoming season overall. So hopefully you're going to be checking your notification about that. If you want to add one more thing about the show tonight, Mr. Nartap and Mr. Marco, and what do you think? I think it was a great show overall. I think the exercise of the line, honestly, Marco, to bring that title, a Wildcard for the Wildcard, it was really interesting to do that. And then the position of defensemen and the main camp, we're going to talk more and more when we're going to get us out. Have another exercise behind that, guys. I did not go there. It was to find out again who is going to be on the second line. That will be a subject at the main camp. Honestly, New Hook, if he's still the right guy or not to play with Doc or Laney. At the bottom 6, guys, it could be much fight. Don't expect only Anderson with Devorak and Roy. It could have so many options. This is the beauty for Martin Saint-Louis, Marco, and Artap. Now he have option in front of him, and he's just getting better and better. Do we have an extra assistant coach? That's something we have to follow up. I don't think so. Kenny is going to move until the beginning of the season. But the one thing we know for all of you and me, we are getting closer of the upcoming season 2024. Just a little bit more patient, everybody, but it's going to get there very soon. And I can wait to see the showcase of the rookie camp at the weekend, September 14, 15. So, Marco, and our tap is your turn to finish the show properly the right way.
I'm just going to say it was a fun exercise going through all of this. But as we know, if there's one thing that's in the NHL, is inconsistency, and anything can happen to any team if they lose a key player, and that opens up a spot.
For sure, guys. Well, I just want to wish everybody a happy Labor Day, kind of the unofficial end of the summer. So if it's still warm and nice where you are, then go out and enjoy it. Spend some time, have a couple cold beers, have some barbecue, and we'll all get ready for the end of summer, and we're ready of hockey season, people. Hockey season. Let's bring it on. Super excited.
Great again. You deliver great contents about the Montreal Canadiens, and it was great to have both of you with me tonight. That's conclude another great show of the Notebook Montreal Canadiens tonight. Until the next time, my friend, we want to thank Marco and Artap, and of course, Luciano in the chat as a moderator. Many of you was back with us, and we welcome all the new subscribers. People like Pierre now is coming most of the time. Now, Pierre, welcome in the family, the Hockey National Show. Every Monday, every Sunday and Wednesday, we have a Montreal Canadiens show. But starting next week, guys, be ready, because now we're going to be involved with another season of NHL 2024-2025. Thanks so much, Mr. Nartap and Mr. Marco. Until then, one more thing. You are awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you. Yes, they have greatness inside of them. It's time for the dog to get out, Marco. Until then, be well, be healthy. Find a way not only dominate your day, but find a way to dominate the second half of what, Marco?
Oh, you're 2024.
Have an amazing, great night, everybody. See you Sunday night. Thanks, Marco, and our tap.
Good night, everyone. Oh. Booyah!